appoint Walter Benavides, Ann Beckman, and Matthew Moore to the position of high school assistant principal.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. George and a second by Mr. Rice. Do we have discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Mr. Rosenthal.
I move to appoint Sarah Togel to the position of Director, HR Systems and Analytics.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Rosenthal and a second by Mrs. James. Do we have discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Ms. Helliger.
Okay. I move to appoint Andre Roberson to the position of middle school principal.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Helliger and a second by Mrs. James. Do we have discussion?
Yes,
Hearing
I will be abstaining from this vote due to potential conflict of interest.
Please vote. Motion passes. Ms. Helliger.
Yes, I move to appoint Jamie Rochelle to the position of middle school assistant principal.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Helliger and a second by Mrs. James. Do we have discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Mrs. James.
I move to appoint Felicia Bolden and Trinae Hill to the position of elementary school principal.
We have a motion by Mrs. James and a second by Mr. George. Do we have discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Did I get everyone? All right.
More.
One more?
We did it.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything they would like to remove from the consent agenda?
I gotta do this.
Yes, Madam President.
Oh, wait. Sorry. We have board members' reports first. I'm just skipping right over all the good stuff.
Are you in a hurry?
A little bit.
Really?
We have activity reports first. Ms. Helliger.
I'll try to read this as fast as I can. Madam President,
It's her own fault. She went to OS.
these are our activities for this month. Sugarland Optimist Club Student Appreciation Banquet, Teacher of the Year Banquet, Exchange Club Spaghetti Dinner, Clemens High School Global Issues Summit, Vision and Planning Committee meetings, Missouri City State of the City, Missouri City Police and Firefighter Benefit, Fort Bend Education Foundation Board Meeting, Child Advocates of Fort Bend Gala, Fort Bend County GOP Property Tax Presentation, trips to Austin for legislative hearings, Audit Committee meetings, Missouri City National Day of Prayer, Sugarland National Day of Prayer, Fort Bend Chamber Go Public Presentation, HEB Excellence in Education Awards Dinner, winners, Principal Appreciation Reception at Fort Bend Chamber, Bridgepoint High School Broadway Showstoppers, varsity softball and baseball games including playoff games, Gulf Coast Area Association of School Boards Spring Workshop, Central Fort Bend Chamber State of the Schools, Global Studies Academy presentations, Go Public Gulf Coast meetings, Staff Service Awards Banquet, National Sign-In Day for Fort Bend ISD athletes, Child Nutrition Department Assistant Manager graduation.
This is a busy board.
I'd like to add one more that I forgot to put down.
What is it?
Mayor Alan Owens Advisory Committee
Right.
featuring Charles Dupree.
That's right. Very good. Thank you very much. Do we have any board member special reports this evening?
Madam President, I have one comment. I would just like to share with everyone that, as you know, we're getting ready to vote on this tax swap. In order to move forward with that, Dr. Dupree and Mrs. Tasson visited Austin, had to call on every single one of our state reps to gain support from that, and learned that they had to get a committee chair, a state representative committee chair, to carry the water to Attorney General Ken Paxton. Well, they asked State Representative Dr. John Zerwas, and on the same day, the letter was prepared, signed, and delivered to the Attorney General's office. So you can thank Dr. Dupree, Mrs. Tasson, and Dr. Zerwas the next time you see him.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Appreciate that. Any other board member special reports? Okay, hearing none, now we will move to our consent agenda. Does anyone have anything to remove from the consent agenda?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to remove policy EL local.
And that's item 11A1C.
Oh, yeah, A1C.
May I have a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda as modified.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Rice and a second by Ms. Helliger. Do we have discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal.
On policy GKB local, the only thing I would like to discuss is kind of an email conversation with Dr. Dupree this morning. We had received an email a few months ago from a Booster Club member, and who was wondering about revenue sharing, because it seems like businesses are now maybe hesitant to support booster clubs, local high school booster clubs, because they're already spending money on advertising. And I hope that the district can look into that further and really try to work something out so that it's a win-win for everybody. So.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Do we have additional discussion? Mrs. James.
Yes, Madam President. So just to add to what Mr. Rosenthal was saying, so I also had an opportunity to look at some of the guidelines and things that are out there, and there seems to be some inconsistencies and perhaps might create some confusion to stakeholders, particularly parents who are trying to lead parent organizations and raise money for whatever their booster club or PTA or PTO is trying to raise money for. So I would just like to encourage administration to kind of align that stuff really carefully, so the Department of School Leadership, or I'm not sure what it's called now, and the Business and Finance folks are all singing from the same hymnal. And
Thank you, Mrs. James.
thank you. And then the second thing I want to point out is the addition on AF local for the District of Innovation policy. This is a new policy we have, but we've added in that any District of Innovation plans going forward should be in alignment and for the purpose of supporting the district's educational philosophy. And that's in AE local, and we're going to be bringing, and that policy will be coming before us next month. So just want to thank the administration for making that addition.
Thank you, Mrs. James. Do we have additional discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. We will now consider agenda item 11A1C. May I have a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve item 11A1C as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. James and a second by Mr. Rice. Do we have discussion?
Yes, Madam President.
Mrs. James.
I would like to amend the motion. I move the board amend the proposed revisions to board policy EL local to strike the last sentence in the definition of board, and further that the board amend the definition of superintendent board member initiated charter to read as follows. A superintendent board member initiated charter is one in which the superintendent, board president, or board members, in accordance with the agenda preparation requirements in BE local, propose that the board create a charter school based on district need, such as improved enrollment and or reconfiguration of grade levels, which may draw students from a particular geographic area, district-wide, and or outside the district.
Second.
We have an amended motion by Mrs. James. That's right. And a second by Mr. Rice. Do we have discussion on the amended motion? Hearing none, please vote. Do we have discussion?
Yes,
Mr.
could you
Rosenthal.
please show me where you're substituting this language, or including this language, or adding this language?
Yes, so it changes the section under definitions to, which is on page 2, that's
Got it.
one change. And then on page 3 at the very top, where it says the superintendent board member initiated charter. And that sentence is with the blue in it on yours. That's been changed to better align with how we normally, things come before the board. It's either the superintendent, the board in alignment with the board president, or the 2 board members putting something on the agenda.
Got it.
So, and we added a reference to BE local, which is the policy that governs that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. James. Do we have additional discussion? Hearing none, please vote on the amended motion.
Just the amendment.
The amendment. Motion passes. Do we have to go back now and vote? So let's go back now and vote on the original motion
As amended.
as amended. We have discussion on that one. Hearing none, please vote. Please vote. I voted. Oh, but it says I didn't. Motion passes. Moving on to the action items. Item 12A. And we don't have to have a board member's vote on this. Is that correct, Mr. Morris?
No, you just need the statement from the board president.
Okay. So under item 12A, a meeting of the Board of Trustees is called for 5:30 p.m. on June 12th, 2017 at the Fort Bend ISD Administration Building Boardroom for the purpose of discussion and possible adoption of the 2017-18 budget and tax rate. That's 5:30 on June 12th. And Mrs. James might be late. Item 12B, we're now going to consider approval of the naming of district agriculture centers. First will be located at Trammell Fresno Road near Hightower High School. May I have a motion?
Madam President, I move the recommended action as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Rice and a second by Mr. George, and we have a presentation, I understand, by Ms. Silver.
Yes. For the Trammell Fresno Road facility that we're naming this evening, the committee met under the guidance of Dr. Christy Wetbeck, and we also had our Board of Trustee, Dave Rosenthal, with us, and the name selected was the Ronnie Davis Agricultural Center.
Thank you, Ms. Sofer. Do we have questions or comments by the board members?
I'll just make a quick comment that I think this was an excellent choice and well supported within the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal, and thank you for serving on that committee. If we have no further discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Congratulations, we have a name for that Ag Center. Item 12B2 is the center located at Voss Road near Kempner High School. May I have a motion?
Madam President, I move the recommended action as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Rice and a second by Mr. George. Ms. Sofer.
In the same exercise, the committee met, and the vote was to name the facility off Voss Road near Kempner High School the Jimmy Clemstein Agricultural Center.
Thank you, Ms. Sofer. Do we have any other comments from the board members?
Yeah,
Mr.
just
Rosenthal?
like the previous name, both these gentlemen were heavily involved in ag programs, and both of them were just so well respected throughout the community and have touched the lives of so many people. And both of these, I think, were just kind of no-brainers. So,
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. If we have no further discussion, please vote. Motion passes. And we have all our ag centers named. That's great. Thank you all for all your work on that and the work of the committee. It's appreciated. Item 12C, consideration and possible adoption of a resolution authorizing resale of tax foreclosed property. May I have a motion?
Madam President, I move the Board of Trustees adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of a tax delinquent property and accepting the offer made at a private sale.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Rice and a second by Ms. Helliger. Do we have discussion?
I gotta pay my taxes. They got to.
Hearing none, please vote.
Just saying.
Motion passes. Item 13, review future board meeting agenda items. Dr. Dupree.
Yes, ma'am. I thought I'd read a detailed list of the next 12 months of board meeting reports and agenda items.
I don't think that's necessary.
So in June, we're doing the budget
You
hearing.
gave me a gavel this evening.
So on June 12th, we're doing the budget hearing. As the board president previously read, we're also going to do an update on the student performance for the third grading cycle. June 19th, we'll be presenting an update on the technology master plan and the literacy intervention plan that was implemented this year. There'll be a number of policies related to, as we've heard this evening, educational philosophy and other governance issues, along with policy, F-series policy. Those are student issues. We'll be adopting the budget in June, along with a professional services contract for the district's financial advisor and some other major financial efforts. And we're going to ask the board to approve an architectural a contract for architectural design of our next elementary school in June as well, along with some bond projects.
Thank you, Dr. Dupree. Do we have questions or comments from the board members? Mrs. James.
Thank you, Dr. Dupree. I just want to comment, I looked at the policy list there that you have listed, and I'm hoping you and I had a conversation earlier about the bullying policies. The main policy that covers student bullying is, I believe, FFI local, and I don't see that one on the list there. So if we really are going to do bullying, which is partially covered, I think, in FDB, but the bulk of it is in FFI. So,
correct, and that was an oversight. We are doing both of those in tandem. We just did not list FFI here.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. James. Do we have additional questions or comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that this portion of the meeting is adjourned.
We are hereby adjourned. And we will move right on into our next